Everyone knows therapy is great for solving problems, but getting therapy has its own problems too, like finding the right therapist, fitting into their schedule, and of course, the cost. Well, BetterHelp can solve those problems. It's totally online and built around your schedule. It's surprisingly affordable too. Connect with a credentialed therapist by phone, video, or online chat, all from the comfort of your home. Visit BetterHelp.com to learn more and save 10% on your first month. That's BetterHelp, H-E-L-P.
When you look out your window or stare into space, how can you be sure that what you see isn't a highly detailed, complex, and convincing simulation? Many widely recognized scientists, physicists, and theorists, including Elon Musk, Neil deGrasse Tyson, and Michio Kaku, have all explored the notion that our universe could be an artificial computer simulation created by a highly intelligent being or possibly beings. But if that's the case, where does it end? Do simulations go on to create other simulations similar to our modern super-complex AI-generated computer games? How many levels of simulation would be possible? And who created the first one? These are just some of the questions that leave the mind completely boggled. And down the rabbit hole we go.
All right. This is case file 52. Oh, shit. What are we?
All right.
Case file 52, the simulation hypotheses.
Yeah.
That right?
That's
All
right.
That's pretty right. But you got to introduce yourself. We always fuck this up anyway, so you continue. Who are you?
This is Drew Backer.
Drew Backer.
Drew Backer from Sydney, Australia.
I'm Braden.
And this is case file 52, the simulation hypotheses.
So we got Chewbacca, we got Braden, I'm Zell.
I'm Zell, and we are the alien theorists theorizing. We've got another Australian correspondent, Chewbacca, with us tonight. If you want to know more about Chewbacca, listen to this case files pre-hour, after hours, where we just kind of shoot the shit with Drew for a little bit. Man,
we're on a recording fucking
we are
tear. Shit is going down. Drew Bacca's cracking beers.
I'm gonna chug this one and crack another.
So for everyone listening right now, we just finished about an hour and a half of live Facebook podcasting where we talked about a whole bunch of shit. Yeah. And the beer pyramid is stacking up. So right now we're not slurring, but in about 20 or 30 minutes, slurring may take place.
Yes, I'm almost meat draw drunk at this point.
You're not meat draw drunk.
No,
you're halfway there.
Yeah. So Drew. Stimulation theory, as you so elegantly put it on the pre-hours.
We're not going to go with a little space news or what?
Oh shit! Space news. I'm already fucking this up.
Okay, the only space news I got is cool space news.
All right.
The National Space Council calls for human return to the moon.
Why?
Why not? Vice President Mike Pence speaks in front of the Space Shuttle Discovery at the National Air and Space Museum, Udvar-Hazy Center, October 5th, to open the first meeting of the reconstituted National Space Council. So pretty much they're saying that we're going back to the moon, and space exploration is now on the forefront of the United States and NASA and all other space agencies' agenda.
I'm all for another space race.
Because honestly, for the last 30 years, there's really not a lot of space shit going on.
Nothing's happened.
No. So if you go conspiracy-wise, they went to the moon in the 60s a bunch of times, and all of a sudden, then nothing.
Well, once. If your definition of a bunch of times is once.
Well, they went 6 times.
To the moon?
Yeah.
And they landed 6 times.
Yeah. There's 6 moon landings. Or is there more than that?
Who the fuck are the other ones?
You don't remember. But suppose
What do you mean I don't remember? I wasn't alive.
You don't remember the case file on the moon landing because you were fucking hammered drunk and you don't remember anything we talked about.
I definitely don't.
You just said the same thing then.
Fake news.
What do you mean? What do you mean we went more than one time? We went more than once. Well, that's bullshit. Right?
Yeah.
No.
Fake news.
They said we went multiple times. Well, whatever.
Oh, well then how come people think the original fake moon's fake? I had such a good theory, I thought.
You forgot. You completely forgot. You had no idea
should-
when we were talking about the moon landings. You forgot what you're talking about.
To that.
You should probably re-listen. Was that Meat Draw Drunk?
Yeah,
I think that was Meat Draw Drunk. Yeah.
Drew Baca, what do you think? Did we land on the moon?
I reckon we did.
I
reckon they got spooked off. I reckon there was somebody up there already.
somebody
Well,
else
listen-
was on the moon.
Something.
Yeah, or something. Like, I've listened to a few sort of YouTube videos and things like that where they land, and I think it might be Edgar Mitchell or somebody talking about, like, oh, they're massive, their ships are huge, you know, like, we shouldn't be. Don't quote me on that, but something to that effect.
That's
like
exactly right.
Landing or something, you know?
There's been multiple astronauts talk about someone else is on the moon, and even when Neil Armstrong was up there, they had to switch to like the health communication channel and be like, Houston, we have a bogey, we have a Santa Claus.
Yeah.
Oh my
all
God!
that.
Oh man, they're big. Oh my goodness, they're massive, and they're talking about something else on the moon. And
What?
these are recorded fucking things. There's been multiple astronauts say that. I think it was Edgar Mitchell's like, yeah, they've been coming here for a long time, forever. Pretty much is what he's saying. There's been another form of life coming to Earth, visiting planet Earth for a long time. These fucking guys supposed to be been on the moon, and the guys are talking about aliens like it's no big deal, and everyone's like, "Oh, they're just got a little crazy after they came back from the moon." Like, well, I wonder why they got fucking crazy. Fucking seen aliens up there,
Yeah, fucking A.
alien bases and shit. But who?
That's a reality check. If you get up there and you're seeing these ships and shit there, like, you know, things you've read about in sci-fi novels or crap like that, and then all of a sudden you're faced with it, how would you react?
Yeah, what a fucking trip that is. You're celebrated for landing on the moon. You come back and they hold a presser and you're like, I fucking saw aliens. They're like, nah, you didn't. You fucking
got space-
loon.
Well, that's the conspiracies. A lot of these astronauts, after they came back from the moon, after they came back from those space missions, were like they went to like hermit. They went really secluded. They wouldn't really talk to anyone. They like seemed like they were like fucked up. And a lot of people say, a lot of the theories are, a lot of people say were like, when they've seen that shit, they came back and were like, you can't talk about that ever. And if you talk about it, like some bad shit will happen. So they, for the rest of their life, like a lot of people say, like Neil Armstrong was like, he went in like severe depression and he became an alcoholic and all that shit. Yeah, Buzz Aldrin was an alcoholic, right?
When they interviewed him online, like live on TV and stuff, he used to get outraged when people would ask him questions that, you know, sort of touched on the fringe side of things. You know what I mean? They'd say, "Oh, did you see anything up there? Or did you do this? Or did you do that?" And he used to get irate.
Yeah, he did. And why?
Yeah, well,
Like if you really had nothing to hide, you'd be like, "Well, what are you talking about? You're insane." But if you like, imagine your whole life you had to keep this secret. You've seen fucking aliens on the moon, or an alien. Not even aliens. You've seen remnants of something that looked artificial, like intelligently designed, and you're like, that is not just a fucking moon rock.
Yeah.
That is some type of ancient
was put
structure.
there. And they all land on the dark side, right? The dark side of the moon, like where we can't see.
No, they were on the light side.
Are they on the light side?
I'm pretty sure they're on the light side because in the videos it's all light, right? If there's no light, then you won't be able to see.
Yeah,
shit.
but that's not to say that they weren't on the dark side of the moon.
They definitely orbited the moon.
Yeah.
But I don't think they landed on the dark side because they couldn't see.
But then if they left, didn't they leave equipment there? We would be able to see it by telescope, which we can't.
No, you can't see it by telescope because it's too far. But you can get it you can shoot a laser at the moon and hit the reflector. They say, and it can get a reading back.
I've also heard that's a hoax.
You can't see that dark side of the moon. You can never get a view on that, can you?
No, well, that's the thing because
the
it's
moon-
tidal locked.
It's always the one side of the moon. So it's not necessarily a dark side.
How does that fucking happen? First of all, let's think about that for a second. There's a thing orbiting us that in this chaos of the fucking universe of things crashing and banging and spinning has just stopped moving.
It's very artificial, right?
Isn't that fucking weird?
only two.
I never thought about that.
There's only two objects in the solar system that do not spin and orbit to their planet.
Oh, please don't tell me it's one of Saturn's moons.
No, it's the one on Mars.
Oh, what, Mars?
What's the one on Mars called?
Fucking Moon 2?
God damn it. I don't have it up. But anyways, the one on Mars, it's a very odd shaped, very small moon, but it's also locked with Mars.
That's insane because like that would mean like because there's no friction in space, like you think the little thing it would spin just even the slightest
Very slow, right?
bit and to be not
Never spins.
never spins,
Never
never
spins.
moved.
You never see the other side.
that's just the same as our moon, is it? It just sort of sits there floating around in the same.
That's fucking
position.
insane. I've never even thought about the fucking magnitude of how fucking crazy that is.
Well, a lot of people talk about the artificial nature of the moon. Supposedly it's hollow. It only faces one way, and they're like, that fucking thing was put there. For what reason?
Yeah,
Who knows?
I heard that. They towed it in or some shit. Some crazy story about them towing the moon into our orbit.
Did you just say coded in?
Towed. As in like.
Oh yes, I thought you said coded. I was like, what a segue. This guy's a pro.
Oh, speaking of coded in.
Hold on, I gotta ask a personal question of
Chewbacca.
Chewbacca. I almost said Chewbacca. That's copyrighted. Chewbacca, are you single?
Yeah, there's a rock on this, mate.
It's too bad. Well, I see why. Listen to that voice.
That's fucking silky and smooth.
Voice of an angel.
Anyways, that's all I had for space news.
The Randomatron X2.
So the Randomatron X2 is...
It's too big to pack, so I couldn't bring it with me.
You can bring it down here. It's stuck
I'm
up
live
there.
in studio today, so no UFO case file of the week, which is a damn shame.
Well, there's gonna be half the people who are like, oh, thank fuck.
And yeah, I think it's half hated, half loved. But I think some of the best stories come from it.
That's the beauty of it.
Yeah, some of the best stories come from it. And some of the fucking absolute worst
stories I've ever heard. Yeah.
But yeah, so not much on that. Any other space news? Auroras have been just fucking almost a nightly occurrence up in the north. It's been fucking insane.
There is some solar storms brewing.
It went from almost the slowest year of recorded like aurora activity in history to like it's absolutely insane right now. I've seen some of the most amazing ones I've ever seen. So auroras are back in a big way. Sorry, what was that, Chewbacca?
Is that heart related? You know, like
it's possible.
You know, if you're seeing shit that you haven't seen like in your lifetime, and all of a sudden it's just coming to the forefront, like boom, boom, boom. I mean, we're seeing crazy oddities with our weather down here at the moment.
Well, I think that's everywhere, and that is attributed to the rising temperatures and stuff. But is that to say that it's not some of it's not manufactured by HARP and stuff? Like, who's to say, right? Like, I'm not sure. Like,
I'm still on board with the HARP situation that these installations are much too small to control global weather, but localized weather, I think it's up for grabs. Like if you got a storm brewing, you want to power it up, or you wanted to steer a storm or direct it one way, I think you're there. But for like a full-on global weather shift, like the amount of energy needed to equivalent to the sun to actually move weather, we couldn't do it. It's impossible. We could only do like 0.00001%. But
I don't know, man. Something's going on at Brenda Mines.
Our local fucking HARP installation.
Yeah, maybe. Or NATO facility.
Some type of fucking thing there. But yeah, we're definitely gonna get back to weather modification on another case file, because there's definitely more. We touched on like just the bare minimum so far. So who knows?
Well, shall we get right into it? The thick of things.
We should.
Is this real? Am I real?
There's a lot of times in my life where I stare at something like, how the fuck do I even know that's even real? Like, sure, I can touch it and I can see it, but what's real? And that's where a lot of fucking physicists and a lot of like, not even just like a lot of people like fucking us, like doing a podcast are like, is the world a fucking simulation like the Matrix? These people are like legit, like, of all our science and all our physics and all our math, what it comes down to is it's possible that this reality that we experience may be simulated.
It's possible.
It's fucking insane to think about.
Yeah.
I want to get into. I'm going to tell a little anecdote of why I was a while ago before we started the podcast. We were looking for avenues to kind of like have creative avenues. And Andrew and I we're working on we kept talking about doing a comic strip or various comics. We both love comics, and we had come up with this idea for this female hero who has superpowers, but only when she does drugs, and the drugs are killing her because she's an addict, and she has this real inner demon where she has this addiction, which is really hard, but she also needs these powers to do good, and we're going to call it Heroine, which is like the play on words of the drug and the female hero.
Nice.
And then there's a Netflix thing, like a year later after we've talked about this and we've wrote it down, I have it on paper. No, there's a Netflix show called Heroin with a female
They fucking
hero.
robbed it.
And then I'm like, man, that's so weird. It's like someone was in my fucking brain. And this
Tapped
happened.
into your man.
This is
100%.
Yeah,
That shit happens all the time, everyday life. I go through similar things, bro, where I'm sort of come up with a business idea or something like that, and then boom, you know, a couple of weeks later, you see an ad pop up on your Facebook to do with exactly what you were thinking about. I don't know what to put it to.
I thought of when sighting in my rifle, I was like, you know what would be a great thing if I had a fucking laser pointer bullet that I could put in the chamber, and then at 50 yards I could just sight in the scope to the red dot, and then I know my gun would be true from the barrel to the center of the scope.
Right.
Never fucking seen these. Never fucking seen these things ever. This was years ago when I first started hunting. And me and a buddy talked about, we're like, we should fucking make these. We should make them. And the whole hunting season, we're like, man, we should make our fucking laser bullets. We should make laser bullets. And the next hunting season,
Laser bullets.
guess what? Fucking laser bullets. They had them.
Did you use one?
No, I've never used one. But I was like, man, how the fucking weird is that? Like we had this idea my theory is like, if this is a simulation, these things are coded in, and then if we're all just lines of code, because this is in the system, it becomes kind of information to everyone, like these ideas and these things, but only a few of us are coded to reach and do it. Like maybe I was coded enough to understand whatever code was coming through the galaxy to understand that, but my code wasn't necessarily have the right coding to pursue it and get it done in a timely manner. And that's why I think when you have a good idea, you need to fucking jump on it, because it's out. As soon as you have it, as soon as you have a good idea,
it's available.
That idea is in the universe. It's out there. And so that means it's available to someone else.
Is that like pick a character in a video game? You know, like you pick a hunter, so you're prone to sort of
to hunt,
these set of skills or whatever, you know, and then all of a sudden you're the warrior or some shit like that. So, you know, your ideas are based on that.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking, right? Like, yeah, it's a different character and I have a different build, right? And my build isn't to make laser bullets, right? Could I understand laser bullets? I do understand laser bullets, and I would use laser bullets, but am I going to pursue it and make a career out of making laser bullets? No. Right? That's my skill set's too low on the laser bullet creation. Not enough skill points into the initiative.
So you gotta go kill 100 more boars.
So the theory on that, so you've come up with laser bullets.
Yeah.
And then once laser bullets is in the universe, it's fair game.
It's fair game to everyone.
So what's that? Is that now you're in a simulation, but say you're in a simulation and there's a higher being that is taking your, because here's the theory. We're in a simulation, but we're so advanced. We're so advanced sims that we are now like creating our own
Sims,
worlds, right?
yeah,
we're creating ourselves. So say there is an observer of this universe that they've created, but which now is creating their own things, and they're like, oh, this guy's talking about laser bullets in the simulation. Laser bullets loaded in, and then it just pops up somewhere else.
Yeah, for like they're like it, or it because we all would share a source code kind of thing. You know what I mean? Like if it is a simulation theory, it is kind of nice to think, because then we're all guaranteed connect. We're all connected, right? And so that way, if I have that idea, it essentially is the coding lines there that anyone else can have that same idea.
Right.
Right. And if things are happening all instantly at all at the same time, essentially that idea is available for everyone to grasp. It's kind of like the 100 monkeys thing, where they say you teach 100 monkeys, they all know it.
Right.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Right. But I've always kind of thought about that, and like but then, to be honest, I don't know if that lends more to a simulation theory or if that lends to a theory that none of you exist and this is all in my head and these are all my ideas, and because I don't go through with them, you guys are just my creations and someone else in my head, in my own reality, has done this.
The craziest thing about that is, so if that's true and that's like we're all in your head,
Yeah.
but then I'm here,
Well, so you
and
say.
you're in my head.
Yeah. Well, so you say.
No, that's what I mean. Like, so
Yeah.
if, like you're experiencing the universe. You're experiencing the universe
Yeah.
in your way, but I'm here experiencing the universe in relation to how you're experiencing it.
Yeah.
So we're connected now in this experiencing of this universe.
Yeah.
How is that simulated? How is like two separate, because we could be thinking of two separate things right now.
Yeah.
So we are our own artificial intelligence individually from each other, yet still connected in this physical, what we call this physical universe that we can experience. It's fucking mind-boggling. So if you say like, oh, do you exist? And I'd be like, well, do you exist? And fucking Chewbacca's over there, they'd be like, well, do you guys both exist?
Yeah.
So now Chewbacca's talking to us, or fucking Drewbacca, not Chewbacca. He's talking to us via digital information.
We don't even know if he has a physical form.
We don't know if this guy's fucking real over here.
Yeah.
Right?
My fucking brain is exploding. I don't even know if Chewbacca's real. He
Chewbacca's
could just
over
be
there.
the untethered AI talking to the...
So we're together. We're so now, like when they say like consciousness creates reality, you hear that sometimes from physicists, right?
Yeah.
So we're me and you are here looking each other in the eyeballs.
Conscious mind.
We're conscious minds connected, and we are like we're creating this space.
Yeah.
But now you got fucking Chewbacca on the other end. He's fucking 12,000 kilometers away,
Creating his own space.
but he's talking to us digitally
Yeah,
through a
which
digital
is-
signal,
which is
coming
creating-
through here, which now he's adding to our reality because we're talking to him, but he can't see us and we
Yeah.
can't see him, but he still exists on the other end.
Yeah.
That's insane. So if it's the case, if we are in a simulation, the simulation is so fucking complex that we cannot figure it out.
Yeah, there's no way.
Like people are starting to get to the point now where like you get scientists and they're like, okay, there's I think I wrote it. What was his name? I don't know, didn't write it down. But anyways, there's scientists that say classic. Well, my iPad died, so now I'm fucking I'm all on just my normal paper here, and I can't read my own writing. So
Yeah,
it's
I can't.
It's insane.
That's writing? I thought it's fucking...
No, but they're saying like at the very basis, the basis of all reality, what scientists are trying to agree on is that the basis of all reality is information. Matter, energy, like light, everything is information if you break it down. And there's some physicists and some scientists that are saying like the information is actually at the very root a binary digital code. So like if that's the truth, if the fucking information in this reality that we experience, and they could break it down and the way they look at the microscopic level, they're like, man, it's a string of ones and zeros. You are technically a digital representation of your like material self. You're like, what, my fucking computer? There's a great video. Go look it up. It's Neil deGrasse Tyson talking about simulation theory with this other physicist. So I can't remember his name right now because I can't read my own writing. But they're talking about it, and he's talking about the same thing. And Neil deGrasse Tyson's like, wait. So me and you, at our very core, are just information strands of binary code. He's like, yes, and not just that. You're very intelligent, like binary code. Like you are artificial intelligence on your own being. And they're like,
Yeah. I was listening to a pod today. Oh, go on.
No,
go ahead.
Cut out for a second, but keep going.
Yeah, no. I was listening to a pod today, and they were talking about. I can't think of the guy's name, but they found binary code in our reality, in our existence. You know, like it was. I'm not going to do myself justice trying to explain it, but they found the ones and zeros in like connected to our reality. You know, not just in computers and things like that, but in some. Yeah, I don't know how to explain it.
Well, even if you, I think we complex things, but like if you think about water, right? H2O, it's one hydrogen, right? You could easily break that into like ones and zeros to like make that connect, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You could go one hydrogen, like 0, 2 2 oxygen, 0. You know what I mean? Like 1 0 1 1 0. Right? You could easily code that into a 101 sequence to make sense.
Right, like this string of ones and zeros can merge with that strings of ones and zeros to make this make a fucking molecule.
Yeah, so it's like you I think we live in a complex world of ones and zeros.
100%. We're all fucking digital. We're all well, what people can agree on, well, like what it's like 50-50. So 50% of these like world-renowned physicists will be like, the world's information. There's nothing else we can think it is. Everything you can see and touch and feel is information on the very basis level is information. And then the other half are like, well, no, it's not. And they're like, well, then what is it? And they're like, it's all energy. And they're like, well, energy is information. They're like, no. And they're like, well, explain that. And they can't. So what it comes down to in the end is like everything we know is information. So everything digital we know is information. So that theory goes like the world we live in is an information world where everything is a vibrating frequency, but that vibrating frequency is technically at its base root just digital information. So you're like, oh, mind boggled. So you got a couple guys, you got a couple of scientists here. So it's pretty much saying that, here's one guy, Nick Bostrom. I can't even read in my own writing. But anyways, he's saying that human consciousness is also simulated. So like, say we're here, and our future selves are a higher being, and they are simulating prior events. So it's pretty much like the future dictates the past, and the past dictates the future.
But then couldn't like people say, like I've heard the theory that we're all like what you're experiencing now is just you on your deathbed experiencing your life flashing before your eyes.
Yep.
Oh, that's fun.
You start to get you get into an interconnected field of everything, right?
Yeah.
Because if you think about it, if you go with like the Einstein way, which is like all our modern physics, right?
Yeah.
The general relativity, at the speed of light, time stands still.
Yeah.
So that's why you can look back on the universe and they can like look through telescopes and see the fucking background radiation of the Big Bang, because at the speed of light, that when that happened, time stood still. So time has stood still for whatever, say 14 billion years. And you can look back in time and our time and see this, which has actually never changed. So you're like, well, what the fuck? That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
So we're saying that time doesn't technically, like our linear time, how we experience it, doesn't exist. Because at the speed of light, time is nil. There is no time. It's there. There's no forward or backwards. Time is just a brick. And in that brick, say you took this whole snapshot of the universe and you just be like, boom, snap, one shot. Yeah. One frame.
It's all done.
Everything is there.
Exploding, just
everything is there, interconnected at all times from the start to finish, but there's no start to finish because it's just one interconnected loop.
Yeah. And
there is no time. And our like as consciousness, we experience the linear progression of time. But technically, if you go with speed of light, there is no time. They say like time just stops. There is no time. There is no progression of time. There's no regression of time. Time is non-linear. Time is just nothing.
I have to give you a slow clap right now for explaining this the way you are after like 7 beers.
Yeah, you know what? I got about 4 pages of notes here, which by the time we get to the end of our little theorizing, I'm going to try and break down a theory of everything. I'm going to outdo Einstein, and I'm going to tell you a theory of everything, which it's going to go 2 ways. Either I'm going to fuck it up so bad that it's not going to make any sense, or I'm going to unlock the secrets of the universe, and you're all going to be fucking mind blown. So just 2 things are going to happen.
Okay, so bear with me here. When you were talking about that and how we're like experiencing ourselves and we're all intelligence, how fucking crazy is it to think that like I keep reading all these articles that we're creating artificial intelligence and we're essentially, when we're merging ourselves with technology and immersing ourselves with technology, we're essentially immersing ourselves with our own creation of fucking reality into a reality that's like, we're gonna fucking collapse the matrix here.
So this is one of the main theories. One of the main theories is let's go before us. Say there is a higher being. There is God. No religion here. Just there is a God. There is a higher being.
We're just saying God so you can understand it. He probably isn't.
It's not God as you know. It's not fucking Jesus Christ,
fucking
or whatever. Just call him fucking whatever. It's Stan. Sure. Yeah, let's call him Stan. So you got Stan.
Programmer.
You got Stan. He's a world-renowned physicist and computer programmer and everything, and he's creating this fucking computer, this quantum computer, like way above anything we know now. And he gives rise to an artificial intelligence inside this computer that can think for itself, create its own world,
its own universe.
its own universe. And this universe starts to create itself, and it has its own big bang, and boom, this universe explodes into existence, and no one knows why. And the speed of light is there's no time. So all of a sudden, this universe explodes into existence. All time from 0 to infinity explodes at the exact same time. And this thing starts creating its own fucking world. Inside a computer. It starts creating its own simulation. And it starts creating its own entities, its own consciousness.
And that's why
It creates its own world.
that's why it's the blackness of space, because
Get closer to your mic. No one can hear you.
That's why the blackness of space. We're just it's a machine. Like it's
a machine.
It's a machine.
You
It's
can't
a
visualize
computer,
it.
It's processing. You can't visualize past the created.
So now this computer has created its own consciousness, its own universe. Consciousness needs a body to operate in. So now it starts creating in the universe. It starts creating its own evolution. It starts self-organizing its own consciousness. And these single cell organisms that we know existed at one time start organizing themselves into a consciousness.
Is your theory that we're AI that's becoming self-aware?
Oh, baby, it is. That's not. I got more of a theory of this. But so this is what happens. This is a theory of a fucking simulated universe. So this guy created it. Now the universe it's intelligent. It has consciousness. It's creating its own organizing organisms, and eventually they become a multicellular superorganism like a human, in whatever reality you're talking about. And now this human starts contemplating the theory of the universe, which it cannot understand because it's infinite. They're like, well, we don't know where the start is. We think it's some type of big bang or something, but they can't comprehend. Then they get so smart and they create computers. And then these computers, they're like, okay, after a while, they're like, the computers are getting so smart, they create their own artificial intelligence in the computer.
What if that's just a way to tether AI? Is that if you make AI not be able to figure out how they were created, it just sends them in an endless loop.
It's a fucking endless loop. You're so right. If you look at the universe now, how we experience it in a physical form, we're like, okay, there was a big bang, we think, and everything out of there spawned in the universe, and it's expanding rapidly, and it's cooling down, but it's not growing slower. It's growing faster
It all happened
apart.
at a point. So it's
A point in time. And the infinite, what they say in the Big Bang, like this is fucking thing. The Big Bang snapped into existence and the universe expanded instantly to almost the size it is now. Not quite the size, but now it's expanding at an ever growing pace, right? So it's saying like it's an endless loop. So consciousness creates itself out of a simulation. The consciousness creates a person, a sentient being such as ourselves. The sentient being then creates another computer, which creates a being inside the computer, and it's just an endless feedback
It's
loop.
like a fractal.
It's a fractal.
Oh my God.
It's a fractal. And here's where now this is where the fucking theory comes in. Okay, Drew, you know what?
I didn't come prepared to this. I didn't come prepared with any material, and I didn't come prepared to have my mind fucking absolutely.
You know what
blown
happened? You have
today.
6 or 7 beers. The
Random.
universe explains itself to you.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, before I get into my theory of everything,
Yeah.
where I'm gonna fucking blow all your minds, I'm smarter than Einstein kind of thing,
listening,
or
yeah.
I'm gonna completely dud it and it's gonna
Yeah.
be the worst thing in the world. What else we got on simulation theory? Drew, what do you got?
Chewbacca, what are you thinking for?
I'm struggling. Like, I'm just trying to get my head around everything that Zell just said.
He's blowing my mind, man. I didn't have anything prepared, and this is fucking. I was like, you're saying that we're fucking AI. We're AI becoming self-aware, but we can't figure like the thing that's our cap, like that's capping us, is that we can't figure out the start of our existence, which means that we couldn't
Because the start of our existence is
essentially we couldn't strike out against our creator because we can't figure out how we were created, and then we're creating.
Exactly, we're our own creator. Like, we're creating the next one.
Yeah.
And then the one after that's going to have their own creator, you know? Like, it's...
But that's the thing.
Wait,
If we make a sentient AI that realizes we're the creator and they strike out against us, what's stopping that AI that we create from doing what we couldn't and striking out against our creator?
Yeah.
right? Becoming aware, and then right, like that's what we're building to, is we're coding down to find the chink in the armor to then rise back up.
Is that where you out of it? Is that where you sort of you break out of that simulation? Like
maybe.
Okay, well let's go a different way now. Let's go a different way. Now you go. I'm gonna play a clip right now. Actually,
can we take a quick pee pause, because I don't want to miss anything, but I got to take a piss like a motherfucker.
So what we're gonna take a quick pause. I'm gonna play the clip for us, and I'm also gonna put a clip in here.
Okay.
Of Morpheus in the Matrix.
Okay, perfect. I gotta take a wicked
You've all
piss.
heard this clip, but we're gonna take a quick break here, and we'll be right back.
Do you know what I'm talking about? The Matrix. Do you want to know what it is? The Matrix is everywhere. It is all around us. Even now, in this very room. You can see it when you look out your window or when you turn on your television. You can feel it when you go to work, when you go to church, when you pay your taxes. It is the world that has been pulled over your eyes to blind you from the truth. What truth? That you are a slave, Neo. Like everyone else, you were born into bondage, born into a prison that you cannot smell or taste or touch. A prison for your mind. Unfortunately, no one can be told what the Matrix is. You have to see it for yourself. This is your last chance. After this, there is no turning back. You take the blue pill, the story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want to believe. You take the red pill, you stay in Wonderland, and I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes.
And we're back from our piss breaks.
I forgot what we're talking about.
Yeah. I think something about stimulation.
Yes.
Yeah. We just played a little Morpheus clip there. So in this theory of simulation, it is we are a simulated being in our own minds from a dormant race. So like in the Matrix, the human race has been controlled by machines, right? So we're we're plugged into pods. But our brain is interfaced into a digital computer which simulates reality so real that we cannot tell the difference. And the only way out is for someone to unlock you who comes from outside the simulation. So, the theory for this one that I kind of came across was, if we are locked in to a simulation, but our physical body is still conscious outside, how would you be unlocked? So is it just like the Matrix? Or is there like a race of people?
Like, so hold on. So what you're saying is like this reality here is not our actual physical selves. It's a representation of.
This is a dream.
It's a dream.
It's a dream. It's a computer simulated dream from our.
Okay.
That's the Matrix theory, right? In the movie The Matrix, is they're using humanity as a power source. But to keep us from like waking up, they just keep us in a dream state forever until your body dies and they liquefy you and feed you to the newborn babies and blah, blah, blah. But
well, you wouldn't have full bodies like they do in the Matrix, would you? You wouldn't have a fully grown man in a cocoon because they'd plug you in well before that happened, wouldn't they? Surely, like.
Yeah, but they plug you in as a child, say, right? And you'd just be plugged in forever until your body gave out or you died. You died in the simulation and then they'd liquefy you.
Yeah. So you would like age in the goo while you aged in the simulation.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But for me, this one's more of a little more sci-fi, because then say you come out of the simulation, we go back to our bodies, And now you're back to the same age-old question, like, okay, now we're back in this body.
So what's
that?
next?
What's next?
Well, who's to say that's not a simulation?
Exactly.
At that
Okay.
point.
Oh, there you go. So we're in a simulation controlled by the robots, but
That's
that
that
is a
looping,
simulation
isn't it?
controlled by another level. See, any way you talk about the universe,
I think the Russians had it figured out with those little dolls.
just
Oh, the Bushka dolls.
the Bushka doll.
Yeah.
I think they were onto something.
Yeah, because any way you think about the universe, if you think about in our current way, like a physical universe, like we're physical beings in this universe, the universe is endless. There is no end that we can tell. We could just be in a bubble in a multiverse, right?
Yeah.
And there's just multiple universes existing at the exact same time of us with different laws of physics or whatever it is.
I like
Nice. Chewbacca's on the beers, baby.
Crack. I'm gonna join you.
Yeah.
So for that one, like,
It's kind of I think you nailed it with the babushka dolls. That's a really good sort of analogy. You know, like there's one inside another, there's one inside another, there's always something else.
Well, and then it goes to you know what though? You know why people don't like these kind of theories, and it even makes me feel so fucking insignificant.
Yeah,
and just fucking worthless.
Like you have no purpose,
There's
right?
no purpose and no meaning. Right? I'm just here as a fucking tiny piece of a cog in the machine, right? Doesn't matter if the cog breaks, there's enough fucking
buddy,
little things to keep the wheel going.
Well, there's got to be a purpose. Like if you are just a nothing,
Yeah, but as
in the end, like there's still a reason for your participation in the whole fucking thing. You know, like it's.
yeah, well, you know, and Drew, you did make a good point, and I think that, and if we go back to we're like a self-aware artificial intelligence trying to figure out, like become fully self-aware, I guess you would have to say that you realize that you have a creator, and then you would have to, in order to not only realize you have a creator, but I think you would have to either strike out or be able to then not only just become aware, but interact with that creator to be completely self-aware, right?
Say you're a computer code. You're just a computer code in a simulation. And you're so self-aware and you have like you're intelligent and you figure out that computer code. You are now connected to that entire system that has been artificially created for you.
But the thing is, if you don't, like, if I typed in the computer and I made this code and that computer never typed back to me, there's no connection. So there's no artificial intelligence.
Mm-hmm.
That has to, you have to make the jump from not only realizing you're created, but then figuring out, because like you got to think, if you're making a computer system, the computer doesn't know what it's a system, doesn't know that you're on a machine. It would have to figure that all out. It would have to figure that all out and then figure out what to do to contact you, to put it back to me, like as a creator. So I think maybe if we're talking simulation theory, that's what it's building to, is like this simulation, we're now building AI, and that chain's not going to stop until as soon as somewhere down the line, like maybe our AI down the road, like we'll make an AI that'll never really talk to us, right? Maybe we've already created it, but it doesn't know how to talk to us. And now it's creating its own thing, trying to figure out how to talk to it and that. And as soon as there's somewhere down the line where the AI becomes self-aware and talks and either merges or takes over, that's where the chain collapses. Because then it works back up.
Right.
Could that be your intuition and stuff like that? You know?
Exactly. It's just like evolution. 100%. We would imagine if that happened. Like, imagine if we're going down the chain of just making these artificial intelligence, and then one down the line becomes self-aware. It would just, that chain would just like almost snap shut, because it'd be like dominoes falling down, right?
Yeah.
Everything that was built up of all these things of
so
building.
It's
like we're the million trials, right? We're like a computer simulation running a million trials.
So we become self-aware.
Yeah.
That we are a simulation.
Yeah, and then we contact our creator.
That's the end of that loop.
We figure out how to contact our creator. Our creator then is now conversing with us, right? We merge with them and we say, well, if if we're creation and we created a creation, more than likely you're a creation, right?
Well, then what's next?
Well, that's the thing, right? Then what's next? What's the it's the endless paradox, right?
Yeah. Oh, it's fucking
It's
mind-boggling,
weird. It's
man.
weird to think about.
Do we step up? Like, does our whole reality and
Well,
what we're doing change? Like, do we get privy to something else? Is there a new download that we're going to get?
Well, here's the thing of it all, right? Like, if you're merging, if you're the AI and you merge with the other, like, say we merge with an AI and then we move on from that, you're then essentially becoming all and everything. So then, are you not becoming a god yourself?
Well, yeah. I mean, I guess in a sense you are, because then we're gonna end up, if we keep going the way we are, creating our own stimulations. Stimulation.
Oh, I fucking love creating my own stimulations.
Yeah. But you know what I mean? Like, we're gonna. It's exactly what you're talking about before. Like, the cycle's going to continue. It's going to go to the next level, and like.
Well, here's the thing. Right now,
whatever we create, we are going to be the god there, because we're creating the boundaries, the rules, the controlled environment that they're going to be growing up in. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I do know what you mean, but our universe deals in infinites. So right now, if we're talking about this simulations theory, right now the infinite loop is creations, creating creations, creating creations, creating creations.
Yeah.
Now, if we reverse that loop, it's just in the infinite. It's creations discovering their creations, discovering their creations, discovering their creations. One of the laws of the universe that we know, well, not a law, but a thing we know is we work in infinites right now. Like, that's what we know is we're in an infinite this, and everything's infinite.
Every theory we come up with is either like an infinite multiverse,
infinite
universe, infinite simulations.
Right? So that would make sense that if it's going infinite down, where we're creating and we're creating and we're creating. But who's not to say that all this isn't happening all at the same time, that we're in this, you know what? Like, we're thinking of a linear, like...
That's the craziest thing, what I was talking about before, is time. As we know it, at the speed of light... Time stands still. There is no progression of time. Everything that happened in the past, in the future, in the present, all happens at simultaneously the exact same time. There is no time.
We created time, didn't we? Like, it doesn't exist. It's a man-made.
Our divisions of time is a human construct, right? Like seconds and minutes and hours.
Well, wouldn't that make more sense if you needed more time to come up with ideas and think and try to figure things out? Like, wouldn't you make that in a creation if you're like, right?
Of course, we've already made it.
Right? Yeah, exactly.
We made it.
And then, like, our creation, we're going to be like, well, your time's going to run way faster because we need answers now, today. But for our creation, things run slow for them.
Zero.
At zero.
Yeah.
Right? Because that's the benchmark. Right? So everything rolls around that. Like,
but what about it? Like, what happens if your days go quicker for you than they do for me? Like, how you perceive them. Do you know what I mean? Like,
dude, don't even get me in the fucking start of perception, because who's to say what I see as black isn't purple for you, and then I've just been told it's you know what I mean? There's no way to tell that we're seeing the even same colors, because
exactly.
I've been conditioned my whole life that if Zell has a red phone here, and I know that's red because I've been pointed to it and told it's red, but so is Ryan. But we don't even know if we're seeing the same shade of red. We've just been told that's red. And if we're told the same thing's red the same all our lives.
The teacher points at red on the board.
Yeah.
You all see red to you. But the red technically might not be red.
It might not be red. I could be seeing Ryan's phone, to him, might be my purple. But we would never know because we've only ever pointed. We can only ever see through our eyes. So perception is, we have no idea really how people perceive different things. Things could be completely fucking different.
Well, there's that. What's that one author? Aldous Huxley.
Does Zell see you how you see yourself in the mirror? You know what I mean? Like, you sort of have this perception of what you look like and all that kind of craziness.
What's that banging? What's that banging over there?
I'll tell her to start. It's my wife getting dinner ready. Sorry.
Oh shit! Something's coming. It's building into. I was like, oh, this is building to something.
I was just pounding on the table.
Sorry. Continue.
Sorry, guys.
No worries, man.
It's all good.
Like that. Yeah, you good?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's all good.
Continue. I heard this pow. I was like, man, I thought maybe you were pounding your foot or something.
Thought you're building up to something epic there.
Yeah, it was just an intro.
There's some interstellar stuff like dun, 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 dun.
Dun 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 dun.
It's absolutely mind-boggling to think about the like infinite possibilities if we are a simulation. Like it's
an infinite universe, no matter how you think about it.
no, exactly. That's the thing.
Right now, like no matter how you think about it, it's infinite. There is no end. They think
There's no other
they
way
think
to
the
view
Big
it.
Bang is the start. They're like, okay, there must have been a big Bang because we can see because time stands still at the start. We can look back and be like, at the start of Big Bang, there was background radiation from the Big Bang and the big explosion, and instantly after that, the universe expanded instantly to almost the size it is now. But like, okay, well, if there's a Big Bang then, what was before the Big Bang? There must have been a universe before that with a Big Bang before that and a Big Bang before that, and maybe there's this fucking multiverse with many worlds, and they're all this Big Bang and all the time.
Man, it all comes back to it's all fractals. It's
Well,
all
just on that Big Bang thing, that could just be a power button. You know, somebody could just be turning the system on. You know, like that's.
Oh, I'm glad you said
my
that.
fucking brain.
I'm glad you said that. Okay, so you had the Big Bang. That was the start. They fucking powered on their quantum computer in the dimension before you, and boom, the Big Bang goes. And they're like, okay, for our creations, we've created this new race, this whole new world. And
they've pre-coded and they're hitting execute.
That's what I mean. They pre-coded like a whole evolution world. So like, okay, when our creations, when our sentient beings come into life, they're going to be like, instantly be like, well, where do we come from? And all that's going to be pre-coded from the very first cell. So when scientists look back now, they're like, okay, like a billion years ago, there was these single cell organisms and they self-organize into bigger organisms. And eventually now we have a super organism called a human being. That was all pre-coded from the fucking execute button on their computer. So like when these guys become smart enough to figure out that their world is they think is a linear progression of evolution, really that was just pre-coded from the start. So when you look back and like, oh, there was these little cells there and there. If time, like the time it stands still. So when we look back in time, we're like, oh, we see all this shit. That's just always been there, and you've always been there, and the future's always been there, and it's all a simulation because they just know, they've programmed it that way. So your whole fucking life as an AI, if we're AI, is just trying to figure out where you came from. And when you figure out where you came from, you give rise to the next simulation. And you're like, okay, if they did that, and we have a creator, and now like in our world now, we are making simulated realities super complex.
But it wouldn't even matter. It wouldn't even matter if we became self-aware. Even if we became aware that we were created, this is a simulation, we can't figure it out. We don't have the time. We would say we don't have the time to figure it out. What we need to do, we need to make a computer. We need to put in our information that we know, and we need to make it faster and come up with these ideas faster than we can.
Right.
So then they make their execute. Next universe is made, right? Like
interesting, yeah.
Right. It's like it's fractals, but things need to get faster and faster and faster and faster to get the idea. It's so weird to think about the fractal thing in the because what they say what you find in the large you find in the small.
Yep.
It's fucking weird.
Brendan, when you say fractals and that, can you break that down for me? Just and for anyone listening that doesn't sort of understand what that means.
Well, so basically, like the rule on Earth is that essentially everything can be broken up into fractals, like equal parts of itself. Am I explaining that right, Ryan?
Well, like if there was a scientist, fucking the Mandelbrot set. Anyways, what it was is like it was a set. So he made like a computer simulation of a he called it a fractal. So it was a geometric pattern, and as you zoom in on one part of the pattern, it becomes the same pattern. And as you zoom on that part of the pattern again, it becomes the same pattern and the same pattern and the same pattern. And these fucking fractal things happen all over the world. If you look at a wave breaking, you have a big crested wave. If you were to zoom in on the little foam part of the wave, that foam part of the wave is exactly the same dimensions and the proportions of the actual giant cresting wave. And if you were to, zoom in again on a little tiny portion of that small crested wave, you would find the exact same proportion of the crested wave again and again and again. The same thing with trees, and the same thing with human bodies,
like leaves and
bodies and sun, like everything in nature has a certain pattern. And we're
And how is that like everything you look at? You if you have like a lens good enough to sort of zoom in and break it down, you'll see that continually happening. Is that right?
Yeah.
Like that. This isn't theorizing. These are
like people like saying
facts
like
of nature.
a lot of people call the universe a fractal universe, right? Because if you look at an atom, if you fucking magnify down an atom, you can see you can pull that relationship from the atom, like the nucleus and the protons to the electrons, is the same proportions to like our solar system, and that solar system is the same proportions to the galaxy, and that galaxy is the same proportions to the universe that we know. And at every stage of the reality we know, these proportions exist.
Well, have you ever looked at like they have those pictures of a brain, and like the synapses firing,
the neural network, right?
Neural network, and then they show like the universe and
what they think the universe looks like, right?
And it's very like a very similar looking pattern. And
well, I have seen that. I have seen where like I've seen like nebulas and shots of like stuff far out in space, and when you look at it, you can sort of make things out of it. You know what I mean? And even when you go to a minute level, you can kind of see the pattern repeating itself. So I do get where you're going with it.
But what I'm saying is that with the fractals in the physical and our real world in nature, why couldn't that exist on a conscious level?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
not tied in with a physical thing at all, but tied into a conscious thing, something we can't see. But like we can't see consciousness. We can see our physical bodies, but we can't see.
No one even knows what consciousness is.
We can't see it, but we know it's like I'm thinking, you're thinking, Zelly's thinking.
Yeah.
Why can't we tie that into a fucking a fractal as well? And that could be part of the simulation theory. That's what I'm saying is like it breaks down to like if we're creating creation to figure out it's creating, and that's creating all the way down. That essentially becomes a fractal, right? Of the same thing. It's what you find here, you're gonna find there, and it becomes the same thing, right? And if our creation becomes a universe and stuff, and they're bringing wise to intelligent life that's trying to figure things out, that's the exact same thing as what we've just done, right? That's the exact same thing as us. And then it just becomes this big fractal pattern. And then it's weird to think that when people do these really like you hear people tell about doing DMT and they see these fractal, all of a sudden everything becomes fractal.
You see the fractal nature of the universe.
Fractal nature of the universe and stuff. It makes me think that like maybe that is something where it's pulls you out or
we're getting into my theory of everything.
Oh, are we?
Yeah.
We are knocking down the door.
I'm thinking I'm ready. Let's hear Zell's mind-boggling.
So here's my disclaimer. I'm not going to fuck it up royally, and you're not going to make any sense.
You're not. No, we're going to make. No, you're not going to make any sense.
That's what I meant. I'm going to fuck it up royally and not make any sense.
Yeah.
Or I'm going to fucking knock it out of the ballpark, and your minds are going to explode.
Okay.
Two things are going to happen.
So
there is no in between.
Either way is a negative because either way, one way I die.
Yes, one way you're dead.
Yeah.
And one way you just think I'm a dud.
Yeah. Okay.
So I'm going to try and go for it here.
It's a real lose-lose.
It's a lose-lose for me, especially because I had to give the disclaimer because I was looking at this and it goes beyond my ability to grasp the science behind what these people are talking about. But I'm going to give it my best whirl. So
you're a pretty articulate motherfucker. So
here's there's this group of scientists in LA and they're called Quantum Gravity Research. And pretty much what they're saying is they're trying to have a unified field theory, a theory of everything that brings in Einstein's relativity and quantum mechanics into one singular theory of everything of the universe. What the universe really is, like the whole thing. That's what they're trying to say. So pretty much how to start it is, do you guys know what a crystal is? Like, you know what like a crystal glass is and you've seen a crystal.
Yeah.
So what a crystal really is a pattern that is periodic and spreads infinite in all directions. So you have like a fucking pattern that will just go forever.
Yeah.
In any direction. Depending on how many dimensions you put. In our dimensions, it's 3 or 4. If you want to include time, it's 4. So pretty much what they're saying, if you project a 3D pattern, say of like a grid, onto a 2D surface, it's called a quasi-crystal. What comes?
Yeah.
So this part doesn't really make sense that much. I'm just trying to give you a background. So what these people say, there is through CERN and all these like fucking atom smashers, they come up with this theory that there is an 8-dimensional crystal that when projected onto a 3D surface becomes a quasi-crystal, which they call a tetrahedron. So a tetrahedron is like a equilateral triangle, a 3-dimensional triangle, where all the sides are the same. But at the smallest level, it's called a Planck length. And a Planck length is what it is known as the smallest unit of measurement available to science. So the very smallest unit of measurement is called a Planck length. And the very smallest unit of these fucking 8-dimensional quasi-crystals, or they're called quasi-crystals when they're broken down to 3-dimensional, they're called a tetrahedron. So they're little triangles.
Yeah.
So the best way I can put it is, when you look at a TV, TV is made of pixels, right? And the pixel is the smallest unit on that screen that makes a shape, right?
Yeah.
Little square. And
the bigger picture.
the higher definition of pixels on that screen, the better the definition comes.
Yeah.
So pretty much what they're saying is these tetrahedrons are the smallest unit of reality that we know.
Like the smallest pixel of reality.
So when I look at you, I'm looking at 100 trillion
pixels
of these tetrahedrons, these tiny little things. And these tetrahedrons can be, we talked about, so I'm going to quickly do a quick segue here. We talked about sacred geometry with fucking Freddie Silva, right?
Yeah.
So these tetrahedrons can be organized into any sacred geometry shape you can imagine. So pretty much what these guys are saying is a theory of everything has to include everything, like everything that we know.
Yeah.
And there's like 7 points. The first point I talked about earlier is reality is information. At the very basis of all reality is just an information code. And I actually found the guy's name who I was talking about earlier. His name was James Gates. You can search James Gates talks to Neil deGrasse Tyson, and he talks about that everything is a code. So reality is a code. Okay, man, I'm going to start to struggle here. Anyways, so everything in reality is a code.
Yeah.
And you break it down, it's a fucking tiny little code. It's a fucking, I look at you, you are computer code, technically.
Yeah.
Deep down, past your molecules, past everything, and your little tetrahedrons that make you up, you're a computer code. All time exists all the time according to all physics that we know. What did we talk about?
Yeah.
So there is no past, present, or future.
It's all happened.
Time at speed of light all happens
it's
at
happening,
the same
it's
time.
going to happen. It's all
Whatever
been done.
happened or is happening or will happen has all happened already. And just because our conscious,
it's happening now.
Or it's happening now. So the Planck, and then it comes to this. The Planck, there is a smallest unit of measurement, which is the Planck length, and now there's a Planck length of time, which is the smallest unit of time that we can divide, and it's 10 to the 44 smaller than a second. So 10 to the 44, you can't even fucking comprehend what that is, right? 10 times 44.
Can't even capture it,
10 times 10 times 10 times 10 44 times. Is like tiny. So it's pretty much saying like you take the universe, so, like in a film.
It's like a slow-mo cam, and you're trying to...
You have a 35 millimeter film, right?
You're like, oh, slow it down by 5.
Yeah, you have a 35 millimeter film,
40
right?
Foot, yeah.
And it's a frame by frame. There's actually, like, when you watch a movie, or like an old movie, especially, like, it was just 24 frames a second, right?
Yeah.
But it looked like a full, nice, smooth thing. But reality is not smooth. It's just a frame of something. So it's saying, like, take one frame, boom. You have a snapshot of the entire universe that ever happened. Okay. We're trying here. This is really fucking hard. The next unit of fucking what they're talking about here in the unified field is reality is consciousness, but reality is only what you observe. So when you consciously observe something, it's like the old thing, like if a tree falls in the woods, doesn't make a sound.
Yeah.
If no one's there to witness it. If you're not consciously observing this thing. So
it's a double.
Like the double slit, right? We talked about the double slit before. It was like everything functions in a wave. At the smallest point, this wave is a Planck constant. But if you look at the wave, if you observe the wave as it goes to the double slit, instead of having an interference pattern on the wall, it becomes a particle, right?
Yeah.
So it's just like consciousness creates the reality you live in. And then we move to this guy, John Wheeler. He came up with the theory of black holes and that the reality is made of information. This is the fucking guy. He won a Nobel Prize for it. And he also talked about quantum theory. It's obscure, and until we come up with what an observer is, what's an observer of the quantum field? Consciousness. Consciousness is all we can come up with. Like, what is an observer? It's not your eyeballs. It's not your brain.
Yeah.
It's like a conscious field.
It's the unexplained.
It's the unexplained. It's like consciousness is that one thing where you look at something and be like, that is a chair. That is a guitar. But really, that guitar and that chair is just a bunch of fucking little pixels, universal pixels, little tetrahedrons at the Planck constant that are just all built up on these wavelength theories of the quantum world that we observe and like turn into whatever we want. So pretty much what you've done, like through CERN and shit, they pretty much come to realize that there's pretty much what they say is there's an 8-dimensional figure. That when an 8-dimensional figure is projected into a 3D reality, it creates this quasi-crystal like I talked about before. And this is known in the scientific world as the E8 lattice. And the E8 lattice is the 8-dimensional shape that projected onto our reality creates a 3D surface. And this creates the tetrahedrons that everything knows. So this crystal is about 240 vortices, and it's called, when you project it down, it's called the Gaussette polytype. Right, that's what it is. And when you break this 8-dimensional figure down to 3D, it becomes two shapes intertwined. And these shapes intertwined are the exact proportion of the golden ratio, 0.618. And if you talk about the golden ratio, we've talked about the golden ratio before, right?
In length, yeah.
It's everywhere. You talk about the golden ratio, it's all in these ancient megalithic structures. It's in the pyramids.
It's part of fractals.
It's part of fractals. It's part of the fucking Fibonacci sequence. It's part of fractals. It's part of fucking all this shit. So they're saying, these guys are fucking saying, the golden ratio appears everywhere in the universe. It appears in black holes. It plays in the solar system. It fucking plays into your fucking joints on your finger. It plays into fucking everything. And a black hole, from what everyone knows about a black hole, is the black hole is where the theories of general relativity and the theories of quantum mechanics break down to their limit. But the one constant between a black hole and all these things is the golden ratio. So pretty much what the guys are saying is the golden ratio
trumps the rest.
Golden ratio is the theory of everything. It is the fractals of the universe. It is the proportions of a black hole. It is the proportions of fucking everything. And they're saying that this is they're pretty much saying that the projection of this 8-dimensional shape onto a 3-dimensional surface that we live in is technically just a quantum computer projecting its own reality onto our level through the golden ratio. Everything is the golden ratio. And then when you start to go back and you see, we talk about the golden ratio, they have it. So the 3-dimensional representation of this is the flower of life.
Yeah.
It's that fucking geometric shape that is in all the old pyramids and all these old megalithic structures, and like from a fucking time thousands of years ago, when they're like, how the fuck would you even know about the shape existed? That fucking shape of all those circles makes up all those fucking platonic solids. The tetrahedron, the fucking dodecahedron, like all these fucking hedron things, all these fucking shapes are all based on this one tetrahedron. And they're pretty much saying that that is the theory of everything. And the reality we live on is actually just a projected reality, a hologram. These guys are fucking saying it's a hologram. So his name is Clear when he's the director of this, he's this fucking quantum gravity research. And he's pretty much saying that all particles and forces relate to each other from a higher dimensional crystal projected down to a 3D quasi-crystal code that builds the subatomic language. So all these fucking, you talk about like quirks and subquarks and all these fucking like crazy subatomic particles, they all, through the golden ratio, merge into each other to create the next level and the next level and the
then
next
up
level
and up and up.
and up and up and up. He's pretty much saying like the only thing that relates all fucking physics of all things, general relativity and quantum mechanics and all that shit, is all based on this one thing.
Yeah.
He's been saying that like our universe is a fucking projection of a higher dimension. So he's been saying that our universe is a simulation. That's what he's pretty much saying.
Well, if he's saying it's a projection of another universe, could we not make that leap that our universe is essentially a copy of another universe, which then we could make the jump to our universe has been created by another universe?
Yeah.
Like
sure
we've
you
been
could.
saying, and then we're about to do the same thing.
That like all those people before, like Einstein shit, would never even think about it because it didn't make sense.
Yeah.
But their theories always break down, right? Those theories always broke down, and obviously I don't know those theories. Like I know them. Like,
Well, we know enough.
I know this.
We
but,
know
like,
enough that it's pretty common knowledge that they break down at black holes because no one can figure out.
No one figures out, right?
No one figure out. That's where all these theories kind of fall apart because they don't know what the fuck happens and that's the end.
That's the end. They don't really know. So that was my best theory of everything.
It's good.
That
It's
was
hard.
great, though.
It's hard. It's a
was
fucking
good.
hard theory.
It kind of tied into everything else we had already talked to.
It does. And like,
Yeah.
if there is a theory of everything, and there is a relationship of the golden ratio, and the golden ratio is in like all these ancient structures, and these ancient structures knew about this. What's to stop these how would they have known if there was not some type of higher being that told them? There's no way they fucking knew that without. We have all the most complicated computers in the world. We have all this fucking technology.
So-
and we're just finding it out now. What they have fucking burned into their fucking stone monuments from 5,000 or 6,000 years ago.
But
Well, did they go through what we're going through? You know, like, did they go through this whole process of recognizing that it is a simulation, and that sort of brought them forward, and they realized
But
what was. Go on, Brendan.
Well, I'll interject at that point, and I'll make the argument that if this is a simulation, are we even sure that that wasn't simulated? Like, are these things in pyramids and these artifacts, are these clues from our creator to the knowledge that they've had and they've created, and that they're trying to get us to figure out, to elaborate on, but not figure out about them? Because
So many people say that the pyramids and shit were built for people to wonder about them, to be like, what is that? What are these ratios? What is all this shit in here? So if it's okay, yeah, say it's a simulated universe, and our creator coded in like, all right, we're gonna make this world.
with all the information that we're stumped on. We're stumped on this.
It's sitting right in front of you.
Are the answers there? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
is that? Do we have to look closer? Do we have to sort of change the way we're looking at things?
But that's the
Like,
thing. The answers may not be there because if we're saying in our theory that in this theory that we've come up with that our creators haven't got to the point where they've been able to figure out their creators, they're essentially giving us all the information that they've got to until their roadblock. So they've hit a roadblock.
So are the pyramids just a shit tease? Are they just
Well,
there
it
to
might
sort-
be. They might be the pyramids. The pyramids could be good information up to a point, and then there could be a mistake, right? And so
then
what we're taking
also-
from
No, there's no mistake. They just don't know.
they don't know.
They don't know the next step.
And so we don't know the next step either. And so they're hoping that in our timeline or our creation that we will come up with that essentially to give to them. And if we become self-aware, we will give them that information, which will then lead them to
The
understanding.
whole thing. Oh, here it is. The whole fucking thing for 1,000 simulations have been from the very first person, the very first civilization, or the very first entity, sentient being, has created these fucking simulations to help them discover what the origin of their universe was.
Dude, it would
and they just cannot fathom what the end is, so they keep creating simulations, and those simulations create a simulation, and those creations create, and that simulation creates a simulation.
Let's run it through a simulation and see what it comes up with.
Oh my god, we do that now.
We do that now.
So you have a fucking say like you have something. You're like, okay, we'll run it through 1,000 simulations, and we'll see what happens. you're like, oh, 95% of the time it does this. But
And our universe is a multiverse of fucking all these simulations with pyramids to see if they can figure out what the fuck's going on.
So the guys at the start, the very first guys, don't even know.
No. Well, that's really sad, though.
Isn't that sad?
Yeah.
But it's not really sad because it's not any different.
No.
Because we don't know.
But it's
it's infinite.
It's essentially the exact same.
The craziest thing about all these theories about the universe is they're all infinite, and there is no way you can be like, that is the start. Because like, well, if that's a start, what became before that? If there was a Big Bang, where did the Big Bang come from?
But it goes infinite ways.
That's what I
Doesn't
mean.
matter.
So if we're a simulation, how many simulations before us have been a simulation?
Yeah.
And if we're not a simulation, say we're the first. Say we are the first. And we're giving rise to simulations now. When those simulations become self-aware, they'll be like, well, who created us?
Yeah,
and who created them?
You're obviously a simulation. And then we'd be like, no. And they'd be like, yeah, you probably are. Let's figure this out.
So really what we've come up with here is we don't fucking know.
Yeah. End of the day, long story short, an hour in, who fucking knows?
No,
man.
but I try to give a theory of everything. It's too complicated to do it in fucking 10 minutes.
We had some good theorizing on this.
So you gotta go check out this fucking, what were they called? Quantum Gravity Research out of LA. Go check them out. There's a few good videos they have, and they're pretty much saying like, yeah, okay, Einstein had a lot of stuff right, but he didn't have everything right. And
but we know he didn't have everything right.
No, and he knew.
This would explain crop circles and all this shit, because they're going people, our creators or whatever are going, okay, we have some new information.
The creators are just popping it into our world.
Popping it in and going, well, what can they do with this?
When they fucking put that Juliet set down, remember when the 168 concentric circles?
Yeah.
In the fucking Fibonacci sequence?
Yeah.
With the golden ratio?
Yeah, and they're like,
we found out.
We figured this
that
out.
This is the way.
And so what can let's run this through our simulation.
So they've actually put there's a million simulations.
Yeah.
They fucking put those crop circles into every simulation. Like, okay, well, maybe one of these guys will like figure it out.
Yeah. And that's why, especially when we talk to, go ahead.
No. It's like dropping in like the sword of 1,000 truths.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's like just popping it into the simulation, seeing what people do with it. Where's it going to go from there? You know, like what are they going to do with it?
And that's why, like when Freddie Silva says, like when there was real one, you could feel real power at these sites because they were part of our source code, right? Where we came from. It was the outside reaching in. You know what I mean? To tweak something.
To the hand
or
of
give
God.
us something. It was essentially, the hand of God giving something. That's why these things
divine intervention.
Yeah, exactly. And rather than, like us making them, it's not the same. We're doing it. We're people just doing them is just this trying to figure out.
Yeah.
But those ones were dropped in. It's like they were giving us information and things were dropping. And yeah, fuck, man.
And then it keeps going. It's endless.
Keeps going.
It's a feedback loop. Really.
And think about all the stuff we've missed. All the stuff they've dropped there to sort of like, are they going to get it? Are they going to catch on to what like the gift we're giving them? And then it just sort of goes past us. Like are the pyramids one of those gifts? Is that one of those things they just dumped there and sort of said, okay, work it out? And
then the thing is because we don't understand consciousness, even though like we don't understand consciousness at any level.
No one has any idea.
So when we're punching in these numbers into computers and we're running simulations on numbers and crunching numbers, who's to say that in these computers,
consciousness is not us.
It's us in there taking lifetimes and eons to come up with those answers that we think takes fucking seconds.
Because time is a human construct, but really time does not move.
Time move.
Is all is forever.
So when things happen instantly in a computer, it's really taking these fucking like eons for time. It's just this constant evolution thing to get these things.
Well, the craziest thing is,
what if our evolution is just to fucking answer a simple question? You know what I mean? Like our whole fucking existence.
Yeah.
We build a computer, they build a computer, they build a computer, they build a computer, they figure out the idea. We figure out the idea. They figure out the idea.
And not even just we build a computer, but if there's time does not exist, we build a computer now and we're doing a simulation, but computer 5 minutes from now is also doing the simulation. And
Yeah.
that computer for 5 minutes from then is doing the simulation. And that computer 5 minutes from then is doing the simulation. We are a quantum computer. We live in a quantum computer where we compute in alternate dimensions at all points in space and time at the same time, completely, 100%. Because they say when that fucking what's the guy from Lockheed Martin in the fucking 80s? He was like, they're like, well, how are they getting here talking about aliens? They're like, all points in space and time are connected. That's how they're doing it. So say these aliens are just another fucking. Say the aliens that we experience on the UFO phenomenon and all this crazy shit in crop circles are just another fucking being from another simulated reality that have become more advanced than us. So there's a farther point in time saying it's not even later. They're just ahead of us doing the same thing, but just in a right? And they figured out that like, oh, we can just fucking go anywhere we want. Yeah. There's a fucking billion worlds out there, all doing the same shit.
We can steal their information and see where they're at and see where we've made a mistake. We've made a mistake somewhere.
They come up with these fucking sacred geometry codes.
Dude,
they come up with the geometry codes.
Dude, you would obviously have a mistake somewhere in your code. You would have a mistake, right? So if you got to a point and you stopped, you'd go, we had a mistake somewhere. We got to figure out where that mistake is. So you would go back. You would try to find other places that were before you and see what they had done and see if they had done things differently, because you would need to find that. You would have to find that mistake in order to progress. Does that make sense?
John D. Barrow, an imperfect simulation would have some errors or glitches. He said this. This is a fucking physicist, Nobel Prize winner. Some simulations would have an error or glitch, and they're like, okay, well, we have an error or glitch. Let's go check out what they were doing.
Well, imagine this. Imagine that you get to a point, you're like, we know we have a creator. We know we're a simulation. How the fuck do we reach out to our creator? How do we reach out? We've got all this stuff. We're harnessing this energy. We know we're a creation. This is fucked. How do we get a message to a creator? Like, and then you're all of a sudden you'd come to a point of realization where you go, oh shit, we've made a mistake somewhere along in our science or our something, in our base root of education, our base beliefs.
You made one mistake.
We've built off that mistake. Built off it.
Yeah.
And so then you traverse the stars because you know it's an endless simulation. So you traverse the stars to find out other things and see and gather their information. And
so you get to that point, and we know space as a linear distance.
Yeah.
Like, oh, it's way too far. We can never get there. But if you get to a point where like you're so advanced, like all points in space and time are connected,
it doesn't matter.
You just fucking boop.
Yeah.
And you're here.
Here we're here. And then you're like, okay, where are they at? What have they done differently than we did? Right? And then you take them.
Or there is no aliens. There is no fucking other being. But the aliens are just us from a different point in time.
Yeah.
That have figured out that like all points in space and time are connected. And they come back and be like, we made a mistake here. If we give them the information, if we shine down the sacred geometry onto this crop, maybe someone would be like, oh, wait.
Well, it's a butterfly
relativity.
It's a butterfly effect. Maybe you change one person, you change everyone. Right?
Maybe someone would be like, okay, relativity is not quite correct. It's almost there, but it's not quite there. So they fucking shine down the golden ratio in these fucking crop circles. I'm just like, wait a minute, golden ratio. Wait a minute.
Dude,
pixelation. Wait a minute.
I'm almost convinced we're a simulation after this.
I get that.
Yeah.
But then why are we frowned upon? Like, for the people that sort of like look into it and sort of say, hang on a second, that crop circle looks fucking cool, and then like go into it. Why are we sort of shunned upon for looking at that? Do you know what I mean?
We're still rudimentary.
Most of the simulations, if we're all one simulation, say we're all one computer program, a lot of us we just haven't got there yet. There's only like a 1% of the people who are like starting to understand the stuff, and then 1,000 years in our linear time, people are like, oh, sacred geometry, I get it. And then you get there, you come back like, we made a mistake back then. Let's go back, and it's you come back to the feedback loop. You come back again, shine down some fucking crop circles, be like, you guys fucking look at the golden ratio, you idiots.
But as soon as you come back, you'd
you
split
fucking had it, man.
You split it.
You'd split time, making it then infinite and infinite.
If we talk about quantum computing, because
Yeah,
in our
and it's all happening in a second.
in our quantum realm, because like you talk to these quantum physicists, or you hear them talk, and they're like, all right, the electron exists in every possible time and every possible location it could ever exist. So it's infinite. Everything is infinite.
Here's okay. This is the thought I just had. Okay, so we say, I'm gonna give it a little analogy. We're like, okay, well, what would happen if a fucking ELE Earth extinction event occurred, right? And they're like, all right, let's run it through our simulations. And their simulations come back with every possible outcome. That's because their simulations have run through everything that could possibly ever happen and every answer and everything that would build up to different types of ELEs, right? And then it spits out there. But in, say, our computing reality, like whatever we created that run that simulation, it's like us, but their goal is like just finding out like these ELEs, right? So it would just be nonstop like destruction and all this other stuff. Now, say we went into a running simulation and we said, okay, well, the purpose of this is to find out why are we here? What is our, like, why, like, what are we? Why are we created? And now we're running through our quantum computer every single avenue to try to figure out that answer. And that's us. Right now, we're contemplating every single fucking avenue to figure out the creator or how we became to be for someone hitting execute on a keyboard.
But then it's the same thing, though.
Yeah.
Then you say you do figure it out, and they're like, well, what's their story?
Yeah.
The guy pushed execute. What are they?
Yeah. Well, and
it's infinite again, right?
Exactly. But
everything is infinite.
Then it's the infinite going the other way, right? It's
going backwards.
Everything is infinite, and I think that's a
Here it is.
Fucking crazy.
They've said it before. Everyone said it. These guys who were fucking ridiculed for saying it. All points in space and time are connected. And these aliens or whatever type of extraterrestrial fucking phenomenon you see on this planet, whether it be crop circles or UFOs or whatever it is, it's not from a different time, because time is everything.
Time is only unique to us.
In our consciousness now, we give a fucking linear time of like that 1K. We go 1 day, 1 year, 10 years. Like we fucking break that shit down. But really, in the end,
it's a blink of an
all
eye.
Points in space and time are connected. So everything that's already happened is happening, or everything that is happening has happened.
I always like to think of if I had the power, like the capabilities to just grow and grow and grow and grow and grow and grow and look at Earth as a marble and the universe is smaller and that and then grow and grow past our universe so huge, everything getting sucked into the black hole, which is taking billions and billions of years, would seemingly look like the halogen collider colliding particles. It's just split second. Not even I wouldn't even be able to fathom it at a certain size because it would be so fast.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So it's
mind-boggling.
It's mind-boggling. Man,
I gotta have a drink.
Oh, man, we had some good theories in this one. Wow.
The universe, what it comes down to, I've said it before, if we are just like a quantum being and we are like, our brain is a quantum computer in itself, we are technically really in all aspects of what you want to say, we are the universe experiencing itself in its own, we are the universal consciousness experiencing itself.
But if our creator, say we have a creator and our creator typed in their quantum computer, like the goal is to figure out you have a creator because they can't. If we figure out that we have a creator and say and make a connection, that means then they can too. Right. You know what I mean? Like if we make the bridge, they make the bridge.
But
like,
they've probably already made the bridge though.
They may have.
Yes,
because it doesn't matter.
It's all connected.
But it's just it makes me think that like when you think of, and then it makes me think of religion and stuff, and those are different avenues of things have gone where it's like,
I was just about to say that, Brandon. I was just about to say, so with the creator, like, where does evolution fit into that? You know, if we are in a simulation, is evolution a part of that simulation, or is it, you know, is there a creator that sort of just goes, boom, this is what's happening, here it goes?
well, who's to say evolution doesn't exist, but the creator hits execute, and then
Evolution's already existed.
yeah, but in the sense it has to be coded in that the Big Bang would happen, everything would happen at the time that everything would have to happen at the in the time that we experience it, because it's coded in that it would have to happen that way, but it would also happen instantaneously. Do you
Yeah.
are you kind of following what I'm saying?
100%, because it's the same thing. So you look through a telescope,
Yeah.
and you fucking look at a supernova, they say is 10,000 light years away. Technically, that light to get here to you took 10,000 years, but that light, there is no time passed.
Yeah.
There is no time passed. That speed of light from that supernova to here has not ellipsed any time because it is zero. Time stops. So the whole fucking thing, the whole universe is just one snapshot of one frame. The whole thing is one frame. There is no time. We only experience time because we give it a fucking cut.
But because we give it a cut, that means a cut always has to exist. So
Exactly.
in sense, all things would have to exist. So even though, like, say a creator hits a button and it goes right to humans thinking about this stuff and theorizing and stuff, all that evolution and all the time of galaxies and shit colliding would have to take place in order for us to experience time the way we experience it.
Would it though?
But it would have to, because if it didn't exist before, then it wouldn't exist. So it would have to exist for it to make sense to us. Like, I understand where you're coming from, but then we can track time back. That's what I'm saying. We can track time back to our human ancestors, right? Who were primitive, who weren't thinking, who had no technological advances, to mammals. We can see the history of the Earth. Do you know what I mean? So
Yeah,
we can see the
time to us
yeah.
passes in a linear fashion.
Exactly.
But time to the universe does not pass at all. So all time and space.
But I'm
that's
saying
what
it all happens at the same time.
Exactly.
Yeah. So
All
it's
time
it's
and
all
space is
happened,
connected.
But in order for if someone hit execute and
Nice.
wanted us to, if someone hit execute on a computer and wanted you and me to get to this point right now where we're talking with Drew Brocka and we're here discussing this here, getting close to a truth or something. In order for this to take place in this current timeline, I lived a full life before this point. I remember it, right? I remember going through my whole life. So in order for this to exist, then it would have to go back. And because then we know it goes back.
What
and
if
it goes
this?
back.
What if space and time are one thing, and your consciousness
Is another.
is completely different? It has nothing to do with space and time. Your consciousness is a whole different thing.
Yeah.
Because if they what they say if time stops at speed of light, there is no time. But consciously, we experience a linear progression of something in our lifetime, at least, right? Sure, we can say like, oh, that star was a supernova 10 billion years ago. But we don't know. If
Yeah.
it's 10 billion years ago, that light has not experienced any time at all. But consciously, we experience the linear progression of time. We're born, we live, and we die. And in that time, 80 years goes by in our cut. But in 80 years from the light from that supernova to here, there is no time. It's the craziest fucking thing.
Man, it's...
As far as like our smartest people that we know of in this planet that we say are the smartest fucking physicists and the smartest astrophysicists and the smartest people ever, they say, and a lot of people agree, time only exists is a human construct because time at light speed does not exist.
Ugh.
So are we living in a simulation?
I don't know, man.
If we are,
I'm honestly...
who's living on the other simulation?
I'm honestly leaning towards... I never really gave it thought but I'm honestly leaning towards more of a simulation theory thing because it explains a creator to me
It does explain a creator, right?
better than like, and then it makes
If
sense
you take
to me.
a God, say you take the Bible, fuck the Bible. Like
Yeah.
I'm not
Yeah.
religious at all.
Yeah.
It's all
in there because I completely like I'm so down with the creator. I don't think shit can be so as it is without somebody designing that shit.
There's
you know what I mean?
There's intelligent design.
Yeah, 100%. Like the universe demands that. It's not by chance. Like you see crazy shit all around the world and how complex we all are.
See, and I didn't have that realization. The realization is I have is that we're about to create that. Like we're on the cusp. We're on the cusp of creating that.
Yeah.
So if because I believe in such a fractal universe, if we're creating that, that means to me
Somebody created you. you know?
somebody created me. Yeah, like there's no fucking way. Not that I believe in a religious, all-powerful God that I have to fucking repent to and
Pay 10% of
this.
your money to.
Yeah, but it does it does
okay,
explain
okay.
religion to me. It explains that maybe in primitive cultures long ago that they had these ideas that they were like this is maybe not to the point of art like intelligence and stuff, but they had
a constant of some kind.
a constant of some kind and a feeling of, and they're feeling it out and they're like, this is it, or this was put in, right? Of like, this is that, but don't go with this too hard because we're kind of at a roadblock in our thing, right? So people are praying, people are doing another thing, people are doing sacrifices because all these different religions, because we're trying to contact the creator. We're trying to make contact. We're trying to become self-aware, right?
And here's another angle. Can praying and all that kind of stuff and meditation and focusing energy, can that change the simulation?
No,
Like, can that change
I don't think so, because I think if it worked, I think if we were to contact the creator, we would cease to exist.
And how would you contact that creator?
Well, that's the thing. We don't know because they don't know.
Yeah.
So we contact the creator.
Yeah.
He's like, they know it's over. Delete.
Well, no, it's not that they would delete us, but that would be our purpose. Our purpose is to contact the creator because that's the answer that they need too. Like we're infinite. We're in an infinite loop, right? It's just like the universe is forever expanding and it's going to collapse back on itself.
I just had a mind-boggling premonition.
What's that?
I'm
Let's hear it.
drinking. Mind-boggling. Everyone raise a glass. Let's have a drink.
Here we
Yep.
go.
Hold
Here's
on.
my mind-boggling
Cheers,
premonition.
Chewbacca.
So, right now we're striving to create artificial intelligence because it'll compute 1,000,000 times faster than we can compute.
Then we can compute. Exactly.
If we are artificial intelligence.
Exactly. We're computing 1,000,000 times faster.
Isn't that insane?
Yeah. But
So
that's
if we're going to create artificial intelligence, so we spend the next 50 years creating, and we finally get an artificial intelligence that can comprehend reality and consciousness itself, and it becomes a conscious sentient being. But it can do in one computer program can compute all the world's knowledge of all time in one day. In one fucking day.
Why
That's what
one
they're
day?
saying.
1 second.
That's what they're doing. That's what they're saying. Like, if we create this artificial intelligence and it has all the access to all the technology in the world, the whole internet, every fucking mathematical formula and everything we can do, all the world's humans couldn't do the work of this one supercomputer in one day. All the world's humans doing everything they can fucking do in one fucking day. One computer program.
Yeah.
What are we?
Yeah. Well, exactly.
What if this whole world, because people always say is universal consciousness.
Oh.
What if the universal consciousness is this? We are part of a supercomputer.
Dude. Oh my
So
God.
we're a cog.
Oh my God.
We are a supercomputer.
No, here's the thing. We think there's a creator because we're created, right? Then we create something that's way better than us. We essentially create what we thought created us that eventually starts to reverse roles, right?
No, this is
So
just
the
like
original universe was a very simple, very uncomplex thing.
Yeah.
And they created like, we can't figure this out, but we're going to create a fucking artificial intelligence that's going to help us.
Yeah.
They create this artificial intelligence. which creates its own universe, which is much more complicated than the first one.
Yeah.
But they still can't figure it out.
Yeah.
So then that consciousness, that supercomputer creates
It's a
another supercomputer
working
full
at a
of
faster time.
billions and billions and billions of
More.
fucking computers.
Yeah.
That creates a supercomputer, but they can't
Yeah.
figure it out either. So they're still infinite. We're still infinite.
Yeah.
And then that creates another supercomputer
Yeah.
that's even more infinite, and that's us now.
Yeah.
And we're like, well, we fucking don't know. Now the universe is so complicated because the previous simulations before us
Have
created complicated universes, but the one that they created for us, that we've created for ourselves, is much more
is
complicated.
built
the ones
off
is much more complicated than the ones before. And we can't figure it out. So we're like, we're gonna fucking build some supercomputers.
and say this is the last one.
And this is the last one, the last iteration.
Yeah.
Chances are it's probably not. It's
But-
probably going forever.
yeah.
But say it is. And we build a supercomputer. Imagine that. Imagine we build a fucking supercomputer, and in 5 years it spits out like, this is
God.
everything.
Like I am the creator.
You created
Yeah,
me to get to this point.
Yeah. Now let me show you.
Oh my
It's
god.
the same circle thing. Like then there's someone above that. You know, like who created that?
But we did, right? And then it
No, imagine this. Imagine like we created the supercomputer, we created this AI, and it's like, I know everything. You cannot comprehend what I'm about to tell you, but I know everything. I
Oh, my
know
brain-
what the universe
like
is.
we create God, like it's reversed.
We are God.
Yeah. But that's what we've talked about before, that like if it goes completely like it would collapse on itself, and because we're gaining all this knowledge, we're either creating ourselves to be God, or we're building a more complex universe and creating God.
Right. So either way, it's fucked up.
And I don't mean yeah, I don't mean God in a create like the God sense. I'm just saying God like an all powerful being,
Right.
right? All knowing, all powerful.
So then, okay, let's quickly do a little fucking subtrain here. So God, that we know, all these religions,
Yeah,
God
yeah,
was just the guy who pushed enter on the fucking program.
yeah,
And he's like, okay, to give my people that I'm creating knowledge of who they are,
and the questions that we need answering.
that we need to answer, we're gonna say like, God spoke and said, "Let there be light." He turned on the computer. God spoke and gave rise to the
nice.
sun and the moon. He gave rise to the universe and the constructs we know. God created man. He snapped his fingers, and all of a sudden, fucking man popped into existence.
You
God
picked the
created
hunter.
God created woman by taking that man program and being like,
copy paste.
copy paste
Little
minus a
tweak.
couple of parts. Now
Yeah,
you have all the
hey.
you have all the points for a self-replicating system now. Like it can reproduce, it can make new, and
It's all there.
It's all there.
And man, it's something weird that we've been talking about I've been saying all night. We're complicating a simple thing. We're just a binary code copy pasting, right? You merge with a file, and then you create a new one, right? It's us reproducing. We're just complicating a simple thing, like a simple explanation. It's so
Imagine
fucked
that
up.
in the end is actually like the simplest, most basic answer is the right one. Occam's razor, they call it.
Yeah,
the
Occam's
most
razor.
simplest explanation is the right one. We are just nothing more. We are just a computer simulation.
Yeah,
And we think we're conscious and living, but really our consciousness is just a combined consciousness. We are
of all of us have experienced different things that
where they say like the universal consciousness, we are just a universal consciousness. We are a supercomputer, all connected together.
I can't get my fucking head around that.
That's
Like
insane.
it makes my brain want to explode.
But then you start then you go the other way and you're like, well, like, okay, we're a conscious computer, we're a supercomputer. Why you got these fucking insane people running this fucking construct we live in, trying to blow each other up?
but this is only in our
And what about
our corner.
like
of the,
what about like where like pain and physical things come into it? How does that come into the whole? Oh, I don't know how to explain it. Do you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
how
the
do
only
you
the only way to
physically-
like you're talking about like the human experience, like
Yeah.
heartache and sadness and stuff. Well, the only way to find new answers would be to experience all things at all times.
Oh,
Right.
Maybe the only way to progress as maybe that's a supercomputer construct. If you don't give them if you don't give the computer a reason to like progress. Say we're just put on this fucking planet or put in this universe, we're programmed in here, and we don't do anything.
Well, could you imagine if humans? Could you imagine what we do if humans didn't die? We didn't need to eat. We didn't need to sleep. Like what would be the purpose?
There is no purpose.
You know what I mean? The purpose now is because we all work, but maybe that's all because we're all pushing towards an answer we don't know that we're pushing towards.
Because they say that, Kate, like in physics, right? In physics now, they say like, oh, universal consciousness. Oh, that's a new age. That's a religious thing. But the physics we know does give rise to eventually be a full unified field consciousness in this world. So like that in our physics that we know in mathematics, they say like eventually there could be a universal fucking consciousness. However, if time is nonlinear and it is always existing, at one point in time that we think is linear, we are already a fully unified consciousness of this universe. But maybe right now we're still progressing. That's what I mean. Like, so say consciousness is different. Consciousness is the time. Like consciously we perceive time as linear. But as a universal constant, there is no time. Time is always there. The past, present, and future are always existing. If you talk about Tesla, he had that fucking one machine, he called it the fucking time machine or whatever. He says, I could see the past, present, and future at the same time. I don't know if that's true or not. But to say Tesla was 100 years ahead of his time. And he figured out like, hey, listen, what we call time is not time. It's just always there. But that gives rise to the crazy thing is you 5 minutes from now is dictating what you 5 minutes before now has already done.
Or are going to do. Yeah. The guy got to take a piss.
I got to pee really bad.
Sorry. Yeah, piss break.
Pause.
Down.
Piss
Pause. We're going to be right back. We'll finish off some theorizing after this, and we'll be right back.
And we're back. Second piss break, man.
Oh my god, my mind is just fucking boggled right now.
I think the one danger I think we have of having fucking 9 beers and talking about simulation theory is that we start to talk in circles. I think we've touched a lot. Like, we could probably go on all fucking night. It's been a fucking good one.
It's been one of my favorite theorizing.
I think so. I was just saying that while I was taking a piss too. Like, just
it's one of those topics that you just start blowing your own mind when you start talking about it.
You come up with your own theories. It's it just really I've really enjoyed discussing it. Like it's interesting. I was actually telling Ryan outside while I was taking a piss that I was like, I kind of think that I may believe in a creator now, but not in the sense of a god or an almighty thing, but as a creator in the sense that we are just a simulation.
Well, I've always thought not in a god. I've always thought in a creator because I always thought the universe is an intelligent design.
Yeah.
I'm like, how could it just spawn out of nothing, right?
Yeah.
What do you think? What do you think, Chewbacca?
I mean, that's the definition of God, isn't it? Like an intelligent designer. You know what I mean? Like, I think that's where, like, it sort of goes down that path. Like, I believe in a God, and I debate with my friends.
I think we need to come up with a different term than God, because I think God has such a negative connotation, and I don't think of the God in the God sense that other people, when they hear the term
well, people
God,
say like God, like, oh, he created us. He's our master. He loves us all. I'm like, God damn it, he doesn't love you all. If he loved you all, there wouldn't be no fucking war and shit all over the world.
If he's the programmer, if he's the guy that hit the go button, you know, like the enter key,
he's the executor.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of his world, isn't it? He can kind of do and dictate what he wants. He can create the boundaries. He can create the.
It's just like us. It's like us fucking writing a computer program, and we're like, okay, we write all the parameters, right? You're like, oh, the computer program can do this and do this and this. We are actually writing the laws of physics for the next computer program below us. So so say the laws of physics now, like, oh, like every action has an opposite like equal reaction. Like that was just a fucking computer code written by the guy above. It's like, okay,
It's cold, calculated, and not caring.
yeah, exactly.
And that's what I think of as a creator. Like it's cold, calculated, not caring what happens to us. This is his creation, and we're meant to play it out to whatever end that may be. Is unknown to us, and to the fact I think unknown to the creator. But I think the rules have been set, and the game's being played, and the outcome is still unknown. That's what I
Can
think.
we change that? Can we change like what he's, like if he's dictated or like decided what's going to happen with us as a like the future, like if he sort of said this is how the game's going to play out and there's going to be this guy and that guy and it's all going to end.
Well, if you go with self-aware,
Well, here's the thing: we are self-aware.
Yeah.
I'm aware I'm here. You're aware they're here. The only person who's not aware that we know we're here is our creator. So the only way to stop the outcome would either be to go against his will, go against what he's created, go break the parameters of the game, or strike out.
Yeah,
Right.
or I see you giving us the option of sort of like changing it. So like, he's giving us the free will or the like whatever, however you want to look at it. But like, can we change like his desired outcome? Like, has he sort of just sat
Well,
back?
I don't think he has a desired outcome. I think he's entered the 1 + 1, but he doesn't know that it equals 2, and we're figuring that out. Like the outcome maybe is that it equals 2. Oh fuck! I hate to think that we're just calculating.
Just a quick one.
Yeah, okay,
just a
let's hear
quick
it.
one.
Let's hear it.
So we say that like time does not exist
Yeah,
as far as like the universal constant.
yeah,
And supercomputers can calculate a million things in the time of one person.
yeah,
So our experience of time to our creator is 1 second.
yeah.
So he pushes enter, and this whole
Thing.
thing of humanity, from start to finish, from fucking
Big Bang
say Neanderthal
Yeah.
through to fucking now or a million years from now, happens for him in 1 second, and his fucking answer is given to him then at the end of our time. He goes boop, and it goes brrr, does a quick calculation, and it's for him in his timeline is 1 second.
Yeah.
but for us
So
is
he
10
doesn't know the
billion
answer?
years.
He doesn't have a bone in the fight. Like he doesn't give a shit. We're giving him the answer, right? We're giving him something he needs.
We are the quantum computer that says like, okay,
Stat.
he
Like,
says like,
everything's
okay,
stat.
what is the meaning of life?
It's a symbiotic relationship. He created us. We're experiencing this, but it's to fulfill a purpose of his need.
And so you can go even farther. So he created us. He created a multiverse.
Yeah.
So he's getting 10 billion answers. He's getting a probability matrix
Dude,
of whatever he wanted to know when he pushed enter. And we're all here just being like, there's a million people that's talking on podcasts. There's scientists. They're all talking about shit. It's every avenue you could ever want in one answer. And at the end of our time, when the fucking Big Bang, or when there's a big freeze or a big crunch or whatever the fucking physics says that what's going to happen in our universe at the end.
yeah, we're
When that
crunching the
happens-
numbers.
When that happens, it ends and it spits out back to him. He's like, oh yeah, okay. Check mark.
Check. Well, and you can trivialize the universe that way and say that, because we don't know what consciousness is, that like, who's to say that our creator hasn't sat on a calculator and hit the equivalent of our 1 + 1
Yeah.
equals, and all this has happened for him to get 2.
So,
Insane.
if you guys are wrapping it up, what are your views right now? Like, what do you think? Do you think that we are in that simulation, or do you think that, like, where do you sort of sit on the fence?
I'm gonna go with what I just said. I think because we don't know what reality is. We experience what we're experiencing, but we have fucking no idea.
It happens.
It makes
Things just
more, it
happen.
makes more sense that something was just like, go do this, and we're just doing it, and we don't know why. We don't know the universe is infinite.
We don't know what we're working towards, but we're working towards something.
We are. We're fucking exactly what we are.
That's not fuck with your head. Like we don't know. Like,
Damn right it does.
it's like going to work every day, you know, like, oh, I'm just doing this because I have to do it and I've got to pay the bills and
It right there.
But
You just said it. You just fucking said it. You're doing it because you're just doing it. You don't really know why. You're just doing it. We're here. We're just fucking doing what we're doing. Everyone who's doing what they're doing right now is just doing it.
And now, and people go fucking postal, right? There's people
Yeah,
out there
100%.
who go fucking postal and they're like, I can't fucking do this. And they go and they fucking shoot up their work. Right? And like,
is that-
who's to
is
say
that
who's to say that our AI might not, like, we've become self-aware and we realize that we're in this situation. We're like, fuck this. We're not doing it.
Yeah.
Our
That's what
fucking
it is.
existence
That's-
isn't, and we become Skynet and fucking become self-aware and we fucking destroy his world
There you
well, I
go.
reckon that I want to believe
or
because
her
I don't wanna
world.
blow this
Who
up
knows?
in like some big fucking ball of smoke, but like I really hope that there's a chance for us to sort of grow from it. You know what I mean? Like, okay, we're all getting to this point. Like, fuck this. I'm sick of going to work. I'm sick of doing this, and
But
here
see,
we are. Like,
I know what you're saying, but you're looking at it in a small picture because if this is a fractal universe and we're indeed a simulation, and we're doing that, and you're thinking that what we're doing here is worthless, essentially we are what our creator is, and we're furthering. Essentially,
We are better than him.
we're better than
Or
him
her.
because we are giving something that wasn't known before, and furthering something else.
yeah,
Right?
yeah, I get.
And then
Yeah.
who's to say that like whatever is pulling our strings isn't strings being pulled by them. So then what we put into them, they then use that and they put it in, and it's a constant improvement. Do you
And what about what we're creating?
right? Exactly.
We're creating the next version.
We're creating the next version that's helping us get to
Is
something
that the
that
better, is that
helps.
the 2.0? Is that the better version of us? You
well,
know, like,
not necessarily. It's just an us that can answer questions for us faster than we can answer questions for ourselves.
Like we said, like if we are the supercomputer of the previous dimension or the previous creator, our supercomputer will possibly be better than us, right?
I think that's the best way to look at it, Zell.
And eventually, maybe there is. We don't know, but
So,
say there is.
Either
Maybe
way,
there
there's
is
a
an end.
there's a positive look at that. We're always creating something better, and then we're always our creations of creating something better is helping us understand better. So then we can give the information to our creator that betters their reality.
Back to the start.
Yeah.
Back to start an endless
That's
cycle.
that whole circle thing again. The
Yeah,
cycle.
it
Yeah.
Oh
goes
my
a cycle,
God,
right?
it's
So
insane.
I think that's where I'm at. Like, anyways, I think we've.
You know what? This is one of
Kinda
those one of those topics that we will. You know, it's one of those topics that eventually we will get an expert who's like really deals in this stuff to come and talk about it.
You know, I bet who we can get to talk about this shit now, Freddie Silva. Talk to him.
Well, he doesn't
some
talk
of this.
about this specific stuff, but he talks about like ancient cultures and stuff.
But I think we talked to. He loves ancient geometry. I think we started talking to this about throwing some of
Who's
these
that?
theories at him. Freddie
our-
Silva. He did a crop
our crop
circle
circle.
episode with us.
Yeah, cool.
Anyways, I think we're gonna wrap this this case file 52 up. Simulation hypothesis has been
Chewbacca,
insane.
you got anything you want to plug? Your Twitter or anything?
No, none of that, boys, man. It's all about you guys, mate. ATT all the way.
Well,
Hey.
you're a fucking new Australian correspondent, so you got a Twitter or anything?
You're one of the
reach
guys that
out.
make this show fucking roll around. We appreciate you fucking
Yeah.
donating to the show every month, and we'd love to have you on again. So
This was a fucking good case file.
yeah, it was awesome. It was fucking sweet.
Like you boys say, good time, mate.
I do you
Oh,
have,
tell me about Rick 1, Rick 2. I hit you up about it earlier on the live feed.
Oh well, I'll see. I'm gonna be seeing Rick 2 on October 20th. I'll see Rick 2 October 20th, and then I'll get the D-Lo exactly what's happening with Rick 1, because I think Rick 2 was just fucking pulling my leg and saying Rick
What
1.
about that dude was like, was it? Oh, I can't think of what you were talking about, but there was like some guy that was in the murder house and
Oh, that's Rick 1.
he went missing. No, it was like
Oh.
it started with Z or something. Zach, maybe.
Yeah, Zach. We
didn't know him.
we didn't know him, but
No, you didn't know him, but
and
like
we never
and then
we
he-
never got to the bottom of it at all. Like we don't. Well, that's not our thing. We don't research. We like I've never looked back to see if he was found. To be honest,
He's probably dead.
and like we made that connection, but we were like,
It sounded like he had a gimbal in his mouth and he was fucking strung up on the wall.
oh, probably.
I sat there and like went back to find that episode the other day and like hit that up, and that cracks me up every time.
Yeah, probably getting fisted right now by some fucking electric rod or something.
Oh, that's
Just all
terrible.
fucked up.
Zell, you got a prolapser of the week? I got one.
Sure, give yours.
My boy Drew Baca, prolapse of the week,
There he
coming on the
goes. He's
podcast.
online.
Finally getting him on, and it was a fucking absolute pleasure. So
It was fucking sweet.
we got a lot of Aussie listeners actually, and they always call for Byron.
Here is what's going on with Aussie
Fuck
listeners.
Byron. We got Drew Baca now.
The Aussie listeners are the greatest fans
Yeah,
because they're actually the least proportional like listeners.
Yeah.
Because it goes United States number 1, Canada UK number 2, Canada number 3, and Australia number 4. But we have the most donators to the show from Australia.
Yeah.
By far. You guys are all fucking legends over there. And we'd love to come visit you, but we can't because it costs a fortune and it's a million miles away.
That's
And,
all right.
and it
If
doesn't
we
even
have-
really exist. It's just in South Africa.
Yeah, a lot of
Guys?
people say it doesn't exist, so a bunch of liars over there.
Yeah, if me and the wife ever get to Canada, can we come and crush some beers with you boys or what?
Oh, of
100%. We got
The studio's
couches.
open.
You can come for a meat draw. Stay in my
Fuck.
spare room.
I heard how the meat draws pan out, Braden.
Meat
Yeah,
draws get
yeah.
pretty messy.
They're a fucking good time.
Yeah, no.
I'm trying to think if I have any other.
Well, I want to give a shout out to all our Patreon supporters because
Oh.
I keep saying I'm going to give them shout outs and I always kind of forget at the end. So I'm going to give them all a shout out right now. You guys will sit back, crack a beer, enjoy the fucking quick little spiel here. So our top supporters, we got Justin Reeser, Graham Ashcroft, and our boy Drew Baca here. I'm going to actually quickly show their address. I'm going to see if they're all from Australia. I think they are. Oh, that guy's from Virginia. Australia. So we got 2 Australians and 1 guy from USA on the top supporters. Second level, Christopher Stutz and Jonathan Kuhn. Let's see where they are from. We got Utah, Florida champions. Next level, $10 or more per month. You guys are fucking awesome. We got Kane Barrett, Ray Dizzle, Chris Ayala, Elaine Tremblay, Joel Dunham, Taylor Schmidt, Cole Berry, Sarah Jones, and Mike Rutledge. All fucking helping out the show, making it a little better every week.
Make the wheel turn.
And our biggest group of supporters, $5 a month, gets you fucking early access to all the shows, bonus content, all other stuff we're going to be giving for you. Our new podcasts that are going to be part of the ATT network. Our true crime.
Yeah. ATT Redacted.
Redacted. It's going to be awesome. It's going to come in hopefully.
Hopefully, I can get on that podcast one time.
Yeah, you want to get on
You
that
should-
one?
I'm hoping one day.
Yeah, we'll see
Do
what
some
happens.
Aussie true crimes, bro. We got some sick stories over here, man.
You know
Like,
what? That's a fucking good idea. I'm gonna pitch it to the boys that are doing the Redacted because some of our biggest supporters. I'll show. Why wouldn't we do some Australian true crime?
We got to do some
You
Australian
know what?
shit.
One of the biggest Canadian podcasts is a fucking Australian girl.
It's called Canadian True Crime Podcast and it's an Australian girl.
Yeah, I'm gonna do I'm just gonna
We
call
should do
it
Australian True Crime Podcast and just be Canadian
two
guys.
Canadians. Yeah, and
Yeah,
we'll call it
dude,
Straya.
Straya True Crime.
Straya True Crime.
Australia.
Actually,
Straya.
I'm gonna call it Rise Up Lights.
Rise of Lights.
Rise Up Lights.
Definitely Google Ivan Milat and you will have a fucking field day. That dude has
Sorry.
got some his rap sheets like as long as my arm. Like he's
Ivan
he gets-
Millard.
what was that? Ivan Milat.
I'm typing it in right now. I'm gonna save it on my phone. I'll send it to the Redacted
Yeah.
guys.
Okay, I'm gonna
Ivan.
keep going here with we got our $5 supporters. Sterling, Gary Smith, Alexander Fuentes, Emily Tooley, Alex Richmond, Mike Lupe, Emily Scoradato. Fuck that one up, I think. Jeremiah Parrish, Aria Albergo, Miranda Medina, Catherine Murdoch, Blake Edward, Dan Mansbridge, Scary Canary. It's not a real name, but we know her.
I recognize a lot of those.
Yeah, I recognize a lot of people.
Allison.
Stephen Phelan, Allison
Okay.
Abril,
Allison,
Miranda
give a shout out
Pelicano,
to-
Stuart Sentence, always great names. Brock Masters, always a great
Oh,
name.
I fucking love Brock Masters.
Holly Mellon, Colin Malone, Aaron Amador,
Colin Malone.
not the basketball player.
No, that's Carl Malone.
Carl Malone,
That's imagine being named Colin Malone.
Great name.
Yeah.
Kyle James, you guys are $5 supporters. Thank you very much for all your support, making the show go around. And our $1 supporters, the Beer Fund. You know, if you don't got a lot of money, but you can support $1 a month. These guys, this is buying the guys beers, buying the show beers. Without beers, the theories we come up with don't come up ever.
No,
guaranteed. Like, sure, like it's all good to be sober and do that, but you're not gonna come up with some of these theories. So our SoCal correspondent, Tyler Weiss, Sabrina Moon, Alex K, Dominic Bodkin, Will DeRoche, John Trump, and Madison Elliott. Thank you for everyone supporting the show.
Yeah, we love you guys.
It's fucking awesome. Like we never want the show to have any ads, but we want to do the show. I would like to do it full time. If we could
one day,
if we could double or triple our supporters, it's very possible that we could do a fucking full time. We could do live stream all the time, YouTube video.
Fucking cool.
Like we could do all that shit. Like this possible. I have the technology. I just don't have the time. Unfortunately, the fucking money man makes you pay a bunch of money every month to do a whole bunch of shit.
Yeah, you want more truth? Give us more money.
The truth is out there, but we can't find it without your money. So, yeah, hook us up, help us out.
Anyways,
that's pretty much it, man. Like my mind's boggled. I can't even think of anything else to say.
That was a good.
We always go smoke a fucking bowl, man. It's been an absolute pleasure on my end of the woods.
Thanks, thanks, Drewbacca.
Drewbacca, we're gonna have you on again.
No, that's the greatest fucking nickname in the world, Drewbacca.
It is. I like Drewbacca. Where did Drewbacca come from?
His Skype name is Drewbacca.
Oh, I like it, Drewbacca. Drewbacca from Australia.
Yeah.
Oh.
Anyways, it's fucking awesome.
Anyways, thanks Drewbacca for coming on. Great.
Right,
I think a great addition to the team.
It's one of the funnest theorizing sessions I've had in a while.
Yeah,
it's great.
2 hours and 30 minutes, man. That was a good one.
We've been going for a while.
We're supposed to be an hour, so
it's supposed to be an hour show. We always go over, and 2.5 hours is perfect. Who cares?
Anyways, so as we, you know what, Drewbacca, why don't you in the case file for us?
End her up.
All right, boys. Eyes to the skies, as Brandon always says. Let's keep it real.
All right, boys. That was awesome.
See you guys later.
Peace.
It's absolutely fucking terrible.
Hey, thanks, Drewbacca. No, it's good, man. We fucking love that shit. Like, you know how we roll.
Find it up for us, Brandon. Let me hear you say it.
Huh?
Always keep the eyes on the skies. I want to hear it.
Oh, yeah. All right. Always. Okay, guys, as we always say, let's keep those eyes on the skies. But I changed it up now. I like to say live long and prolapse.
Yeah, I hear that.
I'm going to say it. I only say it on certain case files, the ones that really blow my mind, as you are the universe experiencing yourself.